the Arctic Ocean. That is at the north of the world, at the North Pole. And it is almost landlocked. There's only a bit of water flowing in at the Norwegian Sea and the Bering Strait between Alaska and Siberia and Russia. And then there's water flowing down through Canadian islands and at the east coast of Greenland down and taking there the icebergs with it. Then it has a pretty low salinity because it's cold there, there's not much evaporation. And there's water flowing in with the rivers northwards. So water from the countries, which is rainfall, which has almost no salinity. So the salinity is just by 0.3%. In the Atlantic Ocean, it are 35%. So 10 times less. And the water is pretty cold. It is minus 1.4 degrees at the end of winter, minus 1.7 at the end of summer. And there is some possibilities to go with the ships around in the summer, around of Russia and North Canada and so on. And that there is every year so much pack ice growing and then in the summer going back and melting, that could have a great influence on the whole weather of the whole world. And there are people and they are exploring a bit and they had made some measurements of the ground, of basins and ridges. 1/3 of the Arctic Ocean lies under the continental shelves of Asia and Europe and North America. And I know, for example, there was Fridtjof Nansen in the 1890s with his ship Frem drifting from the New Siberian Islands over to Svalbard, north of Norway. And there was the Ob and Lena, the Russian ships with it, and the Nautilus, an US-American ship. Wally Herbert, in 1996, he went 6,000 kilometers completely over it in 1.5 years from Barrow in Alaska over to Svalbard on the other side, in Norway almost. And that is according to the Reader's Digest, Library of Modern Knowledge, Book 3, Part 22, Regions of the Earth, written by Hugh Clayton, John Cole, Michael Frenchman, and D.H. Sinclair, on the pages 1111 and 1112. Hi, welcome. I'm trying to learn maritime studies. Today, the Arctic Ocean. And after we've done with it, we're going to do Neckstretching, martial arts basics training. And if you participate in the martial arts basics training, then it's relatively obvious. The Arctic Ocean, and the book is from the 1970s. The Arctic Ocean, almost landlocked and covered with pack ice throughout the year. The Arctic Ocean is the smallest of the world's oceans with an area of some 14 million square kilometers. Almost landlocked. So almost all around it is land, around the Arctic Ocean in the center. And it is almost completely covered with pack ice the whole year or most of the year. It is also the smallest of the oceans of the world. It is 14 million square kilometers big. Continental shelf lies under 1/3 of the remainder of the ocean floor. Continental shelf lies under 1/3, and the remainder of the ocean floor consists of basins up to 5,180 meters deep, separated by submarine ridges. So 1/3 is lying under continental shelf. I think they mean, or it could be what we mean, this line here. So we're saying here around Russia, this line here is the coast of Russia is the first few hundred kilometers is continental shelf. And here from North America, I think is it. There that part is also still part there of North American continent. So 1/3 of the ocean is lying on top of where the coast goes into the ocean, the first few hundred kilometers of Russia or Canada or Scandinavia. Okay, and the rest, there are basins. I don't know what basins are. Up to 5,180 meters deep. Okay, I don't know. Do we say it's 5,180 meters deep? And there's submarine ridges in them. So they seem to be trenches, or I don't know what ridges are, but I think these are just trenches in the ground where holes, but long holes. 1,130. Soundings taken by the Norwegian explorer Fridtjof Nansen from the Frem, is that an island? Okay. Soundings taken by the Norwegian explorer Fridtjof Nansen from the Frem as drifted 1893-6 in the ice. That is the ship as drifted in the 1890s in the iceberg from the New Siberian island of the USSR to Svalbard, Spitsbergen, first established the presence of a deep basin. I don't know what a basin is. Okay. Fridtjof Nansen was in the 1890s with his ship Frem in an ice pack in New Siberian Islands of the Soviet Union of Russia. New Siberian Islands, where are they? Okay. He was from Norway, that is there, in Scandinavia, and he was there in the New Siberian Islands. And his ship was in the 1890s from there drifting to Svalbard. No, the other way around. From here to there? There's Svalbard. There is New Siberia. Soundings taken by the Norwegian explorer Fridtjof Nansen from the Frem as drifted in the 1890s in the icepack from the New Siberian Islands of the Soviet Union to Svalbard, first established the presence of a deep basin. Okay, I don't know what a deep basin is. Since the Second World War, more basins and ridges have been revealed by the US submarine Nautilus and by Russian scientists from their ship Ob and Lena and their drifting Alpha station. Okay, we found more basins, whatever these are, and also ridges, with US-American Nautilus and also Russian ships the Ob and Lena and also the Russian Alpha station have found more basins and ridges. I don't know what they are. The surface waters of the Arctic Ocean averages -1 degree Celsius at the end of the summer and -1.7 at the end of winter. So the whole year over, the water temperature of the water is a little bit below 0 degrees Celsius. Low evaporation and inflowing river water and ice caps. Low evaporation and inflowing river water and ice keep the surface salinity low. -20 around per thousand. Okay, there's only low evaporation. What does that mean? There's only a little bit of water going into the air. Why is there low? Because there's only a little going into the air. If there's a lot going into the air, then only the water part evaporates. The salt part stays behind. If there's only evaporation happening in a salt lake is just standing there. It's a dead end, like the Dead Sea. The water is flowing in, stands there and evaporates, but only the water part evaporates. The salt stays back. And over thousands of years, all water comes in with a bit of salt. The water goes always out. The salt stays in. It gets more and more salty because just the water leaves and the salt stays back. And here there's only a little bit evaporating, and therefore the salinity is low. The salt amount. And also, the inflowing river water is also sweet water or non-salt water from the countries going up north. And the ice. Okay, I don't know what it means. Okay. There's a thin, low salinity layer immediately below the pack ice, which refreezes. How big is the influence of a low salinity of the water onto the ability to form ice? It must be pretty big. If we're talking about a surface water temperature of -1.4, -1.7, then the amount of salinity must have a great influence on how easily ice forms in the winter. And no. Okay. In summer, there's a thin, low salinity layer immediately below the pack ice, which refreezes in the winter. Okay. Below the layer, I think, is it from the thawed, from the melted ice? There's a thin, low salinity layer immediately below the pack ice, which refreezes in winter. Okay, underneath the ice in summer, there's a bit almost sweet water in low salinity, and that refreezes in the winter. Below the surface layers, warmer Atlantic and Pacific waters, the water flows in through the Norwegian Sea and, to a lesser extent, the Bering Strait. That thing is almost completely surrounded. There's just the Bering Strait between Alaska and Siberia. But I don't know how big it is, but you can look on, it's just 50 kilometers or something. Or 20, 30 something. I don't know, maybe it's even more, but it's not big. Now, below the surface layers, warmer Atlantic and Pacific water flows in through the Norwegian Sea by Europe and Norway. So from the Atlantic and from the Norwegian Sea, Atlantic comes from the Norwegian Sea and Pacific water comes through the Bering Strait to the north one. And that is a bit warmer. Okay. Water leaves the ocean through the Canadian Arctic Islands, but 2/3 goes by way of the East Greenland current, which takes icebergs far south of Iceland. Water leaves the ocean through the Canadian Arctic Islands. So these islands here up there in Canada. There goes something away, and 2/4 goes down on east of Greenland, taking the icebergs with it. East of Greenland and down. Below the Atlantic and Pacific water, there is always uniform salinity, 34 to 85 parts per thousand, and temperature. How can it be below the water? So water comes in on the surface? I don't get it. Below the surface layer, whatever. In summer, ships can voyage along the north coast of Canada. So in summer, they can go north of Canada. Ships. And also Alaska and Russia. So in summer, it is possible to drive with ships around. Whaling and sealing are also some activities. Has it something to do with whales and with seals? Whatever. The great variation in the area covered by pack ice from season to season and from year to year is believed to have a considerable influence on the world's weather far beyond the Arctic. Okay, but there is such a great difference between completely full of ice and even possible to drive with ships here, could have a great influence on the whole climate of the planet. In June 1996, Valley Holbert and the British Trans-Arctic Expedition completed the first surface crossing of the Arctic, 6,000 kilometers, from Barrow in Alaska to Svalbard in over a year. Okay, from Barrow in Alaska. And it must be somewhere there. Over to Svalbard. There you go. Yeah, Barrow in Alaska. Barrow to Svalbard. There's also light. Okay, some went there 1.5 years. And he crossed the North Pole. Okay. Wally Herbert and the British Trans-Arctic Expedition, 1906. Okay, that was the Mediterranean Studies part. If you were here for Maritime Studies, you can go directly to the next part of Maritime Studies. Then we're going to go over the text again, and then we try to make a little presentation and say the things said about the Arctic Ocean. If you stay here and participate in the martial arts basics training, there's better here. One leg up. Yeah, up. Take the leg at the ankle. Tap the table. Change. And one leg to the side, the toes in front, stretch the inner side of the leg. To the other side. And the mantis go side to side. Back into the middle, and a few lunges. Right leg in the front, knee down, and back. Upper leg. And another one. And now the shovel snow plow. Knee up and back. 1 to 3 steps, up, knee up and back. Last 2. And now stretch kicks. One hand out, kick against it. 1, 2, 3. Hand out, kick. 1, 2, 3. Hand kick. And now the frog, knee up, back, up and in, and out, back, up and in. And another round, knee up and back, and up and in. Other leg. And now Neckstretching kicks. Leg up and back, up and in. Other leg up and back, up and in. And lunge kicks. I'm going to kick them close to the camera. Right leg in front, knee down, and kick. Left leg in front, knee down, and kick. The right leg in front, knee down, and kick. Left leg in front, knee down, and kick. Squat kicks. Squat down, and kick to the side. Squat, and kick. You can do wider squats. And one more. And the hiking frog. Squat, crash and kick. Squat, crash and kick. And last one. And swing kicks. Swing, kick. 1, 2, 3. Swing, kick. 2, 3. Kick. And now 12 push-ups. Hands on the ground, underneath the shoulders. Tuck the tailbone in, down, and it was close to push-up catch. 2 and 3. 4 and 5. 6 and 7. 8 and 9. 10. 11. And the last one, number 12. One heel onto the ground, pull the toes in. Put to the left and pull in. To the right, pull in. Middle, move from left to right. Other heel to the ground, pull the toes in. To the right, pull in. Left and in. Middle, move from left to right. One leg up. Other leg. Take the leg at the ankle. Tuck the tailbone in. Change. Next to the sides, breathing it out. In and up. And out you breathe in and close the legs. Breathe in and out. That was the martial arts basics training. Thank you very much and see you next time.